Okay, quick brief video on what has gone wrong with this flipping thing. Looking at the video that I put up about the paint, doesn't seem to be a lot of interest in that, although I have got a fix that I'm now doing to make that paint look a lot better than it did before. So moving on, this had a catastrophic failure is the only way I can describe it. Right at the back. Right there. Blew that gasket clean out from underneath. Several theories. My mate reckons I put that on wrong, but I'm not that thick. Thank you very much. I got that on correctly. I know for a fact I did. What I think caused it to explode is the timing is out a little bit, but I'll go into that in a minute. I think because I pulled that manifold off, I didn't reseal any of it down properly. I didn't even peel off the gasket sealer, which had got tangled up by that point. So I locked it all down, sprayed sprayed easy start, and then eventually when it did pick the fuel up, because that was the other problem, wasn't picking the fuel up out of the bottom of the cubs for some reason. Now it was, I say is, but we'll say was because I don't know if it's still doing it. I've lowered the fuel pump. But looking at the amount of fuel going on now, I'd say we're getting low, so whether this thing will fire again I couldn't tell you. But I think fuel got sucked in underneath, and then when it did finally spark, it just blew that valley gasket clean out. That's my theory. The timing issue, I think it's behind here. What I think has happened is the chain has jumped. And I'm saying it because last 2 years back, when I was putting this all together, I got the oil pump on a bit wrong and it jammed up, and when I put the Dizzy in and turned the engine, it stripped all the gears off the Dizzy. And I think the crank, being as strong as it is, I think it held the top pulley where the Dizzy is connected to, and I think it jumped tooth. I did check it though, I'm pretty sure I did check it, but that was 2 years ago, so that's where I think the timing issue would be, if there is one. But we'll spin that forward because it was right back last time, and we'll see if she will fire up again, but I'm not holding my breath on that one. Ooh. Well, I guess there's nothing wrong with that timing then. Trying to catch it. Well, I wasn't expecting that, I'll be honest with you. So, there you go. Those cubs have still got to come off again. I've still got to seal that all in properly. I've got to get a new valley gasket. At some point, then we've got to get water in it, and then we can do what we spoke about doing, which is moving it to the top of the yard. But problem is my summer weather is now gone thanks to that blast of complaint that I had. That slowed me down massively. It wasn't a case of I put tools down to keep the peace. I actually lost interest for a little bit and put my tools down because of the complaint. But you know, I got that point of can't do anything, you know, the crybaby scene where somebody starts screaming in the corner, I can't do anything without you flipping gobbing off, and I just decided not to do any more for a period of time. Loud stuff anyway, but I won't be controlled anymore. The only problem is now the ground is all wet, and moving it up the top means my grass is going to get trashed. which we don't want to do. Now I can reseed next year, but it's such a nightmare. So we're really going to have to move it over here, but the other problem we've got is the weather. It's too unpredictable. Can't put paint on that at the moment. Unless I can get a week or 2 weeks of no rain, I could probably do some bed lining on it. But I am going to look into this stuff, because where it's actually attached hasn't rusted. And that's hammerite primer, metal primer. So my thoughts on it was just get a roller, roll the stuff on everywhere on the metal once I've power washed this back, because that is one of the things we've got to do. And then I thought that maybe will be enough. So I don't know. We've definitely got to set those carbs up properly, and there is more to those than what I thought, because you've got to, I put a new float in one of them, so I suspect one of them's not pumping properly anyway. You've got to put a ruler underneath, and you've got to take that 1mm float, 1mm from the edge of the ruler to get that correctly. That's one of several things you have to do. So that's all got to be done again. So we've got to take that off, we've got to reseal that back down, we've got to remove the carburetors, we ain't got no choice. We'll give it a spin one more time, see what happens, shan't we? Bear with me. Stay tick over, stay ticking over. Didn't like that. Okay, well you get the gist. Shouldn't be running that, no fluid in that. Kill it. So next week, subject, well I say next week, I'm not really sure when I'm going to do this. I want to do it next week, but I don't exactly know what I'm doing. We don't have a lot of money at the moment because we're paying off catalogue bills, because I decided to buy a camera, because my last camera started to die, and I wanted to continue giving you videos. The only problem is now I've got the camera, I've got a hefty bill to pay off, so you're just going to have to bear with me, I'm afraid. Be patient. We're not like some of these large American YouTube channels where everybody is throwing their money at you, and all the audience is throwing stuff in the post at you. We're not one of those channels, I'm afraid. So not complaining, don't misunderstand me. Check my shadow out hand, look, don't misunderstand me. I'm not complaining, I'm just saying all I'm asking is be patient. I will try and do some stuff on this week. If I cannot do any work on the engine, then I will start doing other things like the bonnet latch, for example. I might get some angle iron and maybe start looking at that window, because I was going to put the original glass back in, but I've been thinking hard on this one. We've missed our paint deadline. All windows are shut nowadays, so we could probably get away with making up, once I got the tailgate out of the shed, we'll probably get away with making that unit up. And I was thinking about making some sort of little visor for that window to attach to, just to make it a bit easier to build. So we might do that as well at some point. We've got a grill to make, we ain't done that yet, and we've got to get those on. We still haven't done that yet. So please keep an eye open in the community pages, because I do from time to time put photos up of stuff, and if you go in there now you will see some photos of things that I have been doing. Sometimes I just, instead of doing a full video, I just literally throw photographs up. In fact, while I'm here, I'll quickly go in the shed and show you what I've done on the tailgate very briefly. With that lack of light. However, I've sanded it down again. This is probably the 4th lacquer coat, and again I've had bits flying all over it. As pointed out in the comments, you're never going to get a professional finish if you're working in a shed and not in a spray booth. I get that, but do you know what? What I got is what I got, okay? Simple as that. as the old saying go, it is what it is. So you got to make do with the stuff you got around you, and this is what I'm doing. So I've been sanding down, getting rid of all the lumps, a couple there to get rid of, and then I've been putting the polishing wheel over with T-cut, like I did on the headlight video, and that appears to be working, and it seems to be working reasonably well. We're still a long way from getting a shine on that, but it is getting there. And it is coming out rather flat as well, just that both my spray guns decided to die on me when I was coming to the end of this. One of them is pulsating air through, so it's like a choo-choo train. Literally, and that's not working, and I can't figure out what's wrong with it, so that's now in the bin. And my large one is just too powerful for this. It's such a small item to spray. I'd much rather have did I say choo-choo train? I did, didn't I? I'm sorry, I've been hanging around my grandchildren too long. It sounds like a big professional steam engine, children. Anyway, look. Where was I? Yeah, my big spray gun is just way too powerful for this because the space is so small that I'm working in. So I struggled with that as well. I did put the last lacquer on with that, but I'd run out of blue at this point, and I over-sanded one area there, and I just can't retrieve it. So we're going to have to run some trim along there. There is, when the plastic backing going, it does overhang anyway, but what I want to do is to put a piece of trim along there on the plastic so there's a gap, and then run a rubber seal, so when you shut the glass door it will sit on the seal and not on the actual paint is the plan. I don't want to ruin the paint. And we've got the part which is in the photos. If you've been looking at the community pages, you'll see that I put a photo of this. Said I was going to do it. I'm not going to say what went wrong on it. You can figure that out for yourselves. But there is a little tiny mistake, which I'm not going to tell you. That will go on there, and it is a bit scratched. There's nothing I could do about that, I'm afraid. That's just the nature of the beast. And this one needs a little tidy up, so I spilt paint on it. Camera will go in there, but I'm not really sure I want to stay with that idea. So let me stand back. That's going to be the finished article once it's all polished up, and as soon as it's all polished up we'll take that out the front once I put everything back on, and we'll whack it back on the vehicle. But we do need to figure out what we're going to do about the rubber seal on the glass, because it will sit on the paint and I don't particularly want it to do that. So I'm thinking about running a piece of steel across there, and there was a load of steel that came off that buck, and I'm thinking about cutting one of them up and riveting it on top of the plastic. So actually physically put the seal on first, put some polyurethane behind it, and then rivet the thing on. So cut a load of holes and drill a load of holes and all the way along, so when the glass comes down it will sit on the rubber and not on the actual door. And you'll note that I did what I said there. It isn't brilliant, but that should now clear the glass. This is the original tailgate that came off the vehicle where the truckman top came off. So somebody had already modified that. I've just come along and as best as I can at least tidied it up. So camera will go in there, but I've left myself with a problem. The bolts, I can't get to the nuts when the camera goes in because I forgot to cut the piece of metal with the plasma cutter, and obviously all that heat is going to wreck the paint, so I've now got to try and figure a way around that. But all in all I think this has come out. So this is more of an update video really. So we'll see where we go. We'll bolt that tailgate on next week because I want it on. We'll go down Halfords and get some chromey numbers and letters for the back of it. And I think also we'll, because everything revolves around a valley gasket. Well, we obviously ain't got no bent push rods, that's for sure, because I wouldn't be doing that if we had. We've definitely got to sort the timing out on this thing, without a doubt. So we've got that to do. We've definitely got to tune those carbs in a hell of a lot better than what they are, because they're terrible. And we do need a bit more fuel in there. Actually, that fuel look a bit shit colour. Look like old fuel. Oh, what's the matter with it? Look at it. Ugh. And I don't know why it wasn't picking up. Maybe there was some sticky valves to why I wasn't getting a decent vacuum. Who knows? So, guys and girls, thank you for watching this little preview, and we'll definitely see you next week. You take care.